Good morning, everyone. I'd like to dedicate this morning's learning in memory of my mother, Mr. Shlomis Rabinowitz, Shlomis Rabbi Yaakov Eliezer. We are in Mishnayos Harah. Parak Aleph, Chapter 1, Mishna Ches, Mishna 8. Okay. The previous Mishnah was discussing which parts of a tree are considered the fruit regarding our law and other laws. And now we're going to continue with discussing what's considered, what the parts of the tree that are going to be included in the prohibition of our law. Ankoiklos. Ankoiklos means grapes that became damaged and therefore inedible before reaching a third of their ripeness. So as the commentaries explain, these grapes, even though they haven't reached the 1/3 of their ripeness, up to that point, they were still considered fruit. And the only issue with them is the fact that now they became so damaged and became inedible. But they started off as a fruit. They were considered a fruit. The question is now that they got so ruined, maybe they shouldn't be considered a fruit anymore. We'll see what the Mishnah says about that. V'achartzanim. The chartzanim are the grape pits. V'azagim are the grape skins. V'hatemed. Shalahem. Temed is a drink that's made by pouring water over the pits, over the skins, over sediment, and it gets a little bit of a wine flavor. So these are the 4 cases regarding grapes that the Mishnah starts off with. Klepe rimain v'haneit shalai. Skins of a pomegranate and its flower, its blossom. The blossom is explained as the crown that grows from the projection at the top of the pomegranate. Klipi agazim, shells of nuts, bagarinim and the pits of the seeds of all fruits. Pits are seeds of all fruits. Asurim ba'arla, they will be forbidden because of the law of arla. Now, as we said until now, arla has to be the fruit. The Torah forbade its fruit. So in the first case of anakoiklos, these damaged fruits, they started off as fruits, and they remain with the status of fruits. They started off as fruits. The law of arla applied to them. The law of arla is not going to go off because of the fact that now became inedible due to damage. When we talk about the skins, the pits, essentially that's not really the fruit. However, the Torah, when it talks about arla, it says "Va'araltem es arla sai es period." It says "es period." It's fruit with the word "s" in front of it, and that is expounded to mean that "s" in front of the period means to include not just the fruit, but that which is secondary to the fruit. I mean, it's part of the fruit, but it's not the main part of the fruit. Maybe be a part of the fruit that's not typically eaten, but nonetheless, it's secondary to the fruit. It just as the fruit is forbidden, these secondary things, the skins and the pits, are going to be forbidden. The temed is what's made from these things. So therefore, if these things are forbidden for arla, whatever wine or juice that they give off is going to be forbidden also. So that's regarding the law of arla. And then it's so that therefore, these 4 things mentioned are forbidden when it comes to arla. For the first 3 years, they're forbidden. Uba Asherah. If we're talking about an Asherah tree, meaning the grapevine was worshipped. As we said yesterday, there the Torah forbids any part of it, and these aren't going to be any worse than that. Uba Nazir. Now, it also will be forbidden to the Nazir. The Nazir is the person that's taken the Nazir vow, which one of the things that the vow does is makes him forbidden in wine and in grapes. And although we said yesterday, the things that are included in the prohibition of Nazir are things that are eaten, and when we talk about at least the skins and the pits, those aren't typically eaten, nonetheless. The Torah actually straight out tells us that even the pits and the skins are going to be forbidden by a Nazir. It says it explicitly. Van koiklos, these damaged fruits, they're fruits. And the temed, the drink that comes from them, actually again, the Torah talks about mishras anavim, anything that the grapes soak in. So if these hartzanim, the zagim, the pits, the skins are included in the prohibition of Nazir, they're considered wine and grapes for Nazir, then that which they now are soaked in and give off the flavor are going to be included in the prohibition also. So that's why they're all forbidden when it comes to the nazir. However, mutarim when it comes to the fourth year, they are permissible. Now, as we said yesterday, the fourth year is that after the 3 years of Arla, the fourth year, the fruits are not prohibited, but they have sanctity. They have to eat in Yerushalayim or redeem them to money, taken in Yerushalayim. And there again, that which the Torah says has the sanctity of Ravai are the things that are typically eaten. So being that the skins, and so now, the ankoiklois, because of the fact that they are damaged and not eaten, will not have the status of Ravai. Yeah, interestingly. Although when it came to prohibition of Arla, we said that once it was fruits, it stays that way. When it comes to Ravai, which is the point of Ravai is to eat it, being that these ankoikles aren't eaten, and the pits and the skins aren't typically eaten either, the sanctity of Ravai does not apply to them, and on the fourth year, you can eat them anywhere you want. Then the Mishnah concludes, V'hanoivles. Noivles are fruits that fall from a tree before ripening. Kulam asuris. In all cases, they're forbidden. These unripened fruits that fall from the tree, they are considered normal edible fruit, and therefore, from the point of all the laws we're talking about until now, including Ravai, because they are eaten, therefore the sanctity of Ravai applies even to these unripe fruits that have fallen off from the tree. They're not damaged like in the first case. They just came off the tree before they were fully ripened. They're not going to ripen anymore. Nonetheless, they are considered normal edible fruit, and therefore all the laws mentioned in the Mishnah will apply by them. Continue with the laws of Rechilas and the Chavetz Chaim. We're now in Klal Beis, chapter 2, Sif Aleph, paragraph 1. One may not say Rechilas even in front of one person, or the more so in front of many people. Meaning, let's say Reuben tells Shimon what Levi did to Shimon. The wrong that Levi did to Shimon. So he only said it in front of one person. It's forbidden. If you now tell in front of many people what so and so did in front of what Levi did to Shimon, then again, in that situation, you're speaking Rechilas to the person who was affected, and Lashon Harah regarding all the other people who are listening. Sif Beis, paragraph 2. Afilo avak Rechilas, even what that's called a dusting of Rechilas, which we'll see what that means. It's kind of indirect Rechilas. Gabni is going to be forbidden to tell over in any manner. Now, let's say the case was that you are telling again, Reuben is telling Shimon what Levi said about him. And what Levi said could be interpreted in two ways. It could be interpreted what he said, that he said something that was, at the very least, innocuous, or it could be translated as something negative. So now, if you said it in a way that it's clear that you're saying that what Levi said about Shimon was meant to degrade Shimon, that's absolute rechilas. Let's say the way that you say it is in a way that you are saying it in a way that it leans to an interpretation that what Levi said about Shimon, there was no ill intentions, there was no negative intentions of what he said. Nonetheless, if let's say you know that the nature of this person, you know the nature of the person you're telling to, meaning you're telling Shimon what Levi did to him, and you know that Shimon is a negative person. He's just looking for excuses. He's always going to go ahead and not give a person benefit of the doubt, and always look for some kind of, and always think that the person is speaking against him. Or if let's say there's already some animosity between them, so such a person only needs an excuse to complain against his friend, to think that his friend is doing something against him. Then it's forbidden in all manners. So avak rechilas is a statement that could be interpreted positively or negatively, or negatively, or just no meaning. There's no negative connotation to it. It really depends on how you say it. Depends on how you express it. So if you express it in a way that implies that what the person said about the other person, what Levi said about Shimon, was negative, that's for sure rechilas. But even if the way you said it wouldn't imply that, but the kind of person you're speaking to will has a tendency to interpret what was said in a negative manner, there too would be forbidden to say, because if he's going to take it in a negative way, that means you're speaking rechilas. Have a wonderful day.